Hello everyone. Today is February 5th, 2015. My name is Brian McInerney. This is the long version of the Utah water supply briefing for February. And I'm the hydrologist here at the National Weather Service in Salt Lake City, Utah. So let's take a look at a precipitation anomaly and the weather that guided it. And what we're looking at is right around Christmas time, 2014. We had a really nice system move into Utah, really originating somewhere out by the Philippines. And the high pressure that's been dogging us this whole time is south of the flow. And that was very beneficial because it came over the Cascades and dropped into Utah and received all sorts of good precipitation. And that was a nice thing. As a result, we're looking at 2014 for December, and we see the precipitation anomaly for this area for December was quite good. We had precipitation across many parts of the state, or it was right around normal for December. Now what we're going to do is take a look at the dominant weather feature for January, and what we see is this big high pressure ridge, this rotating clockwise weather feature that has been the dominant weather feature for the past 3 to 4 years. And it's something of interest as it looks just like this. When we switch to January of 2014, this is what we see. Almost a near identical weather pattern at the same time of the year that is set up. It shunts all of the weather up into Alaska and the Yukon and then drops it down into central U.S., down in the southeast and up the east coast, leaving the western part of the U.S. high and dry. And this has been the tail that we've had really for some time now. When we look at the anomaly for January, what we see is precipitation right around this 30 to 50% range for the most part. Very dry conditions, maybe a little bit down in the southeastern part of Utah, and that's quite good. Something to note, San Francisco didn't get a drop of precipitation during January, and these are the indicators that California is just not seeing the storms during this time. So now let's take a look at the temperature anomaly that goes with this, the same weather pattern. When you look at Salt Lake City Airport departure from normal, what we're doing is looking at a graphic on the y-axis. At 0, that would be everything that is totally normal for the 30-year average. You wouldn't have any bars going up and down. But what we have are majority of the bars going up, indicating 5, 10, maybe 15, and in one case about 26 degrees above normal conditions for that day on the average temperature. And that goes for 26 days. On the 27th day, we had a system come through that was a little cooler, and that was a great thing because you could have it for that. But when you look at temperature anomaly for December, what you see is we're in the 7 to 10 degree range up in northern Utah, with southern Utah somewhere near normal in parts or just a little bit warmer. But in the areas of the most population with the mountains, we're getting extremely warm temperatures, at least through December. When we look at January, we see more of the same. The first 4 days were cooler than normal for the most part. And then on the 5th day, it went all the way across, and we're averaging about 7 degrees above normal. And this is just at a point when we then take a look at the entire country and we look at Utah specifically, we see we're in that 7 to 10 degree range across a greater majority and really a lot of the western U.S. When we look at current snowpack on February 3rd, 2015, we'll go basin average. The y-axis is snow water equivalent. The x-axis is the date. And what we start with is the Bear River drainage at 74% of median, very close to where they were last year. We look at the Weber at 75% of median, also very close to where they were last year. Six Creeks, 69%, again, very similar. We drop down south to Utah Lake drainage, 77%, again, doing a little bit better than they were last year, but kind of coming into it. Duchesne at 80%, very similar. The green above Fontenelle, the upper green, 126% of median, and even doing a little bit better than last year, but then the green went huge last year in about another couple of weeks. And then Colorado near Cisco at 93%, that's everything coming out of Colorado, and then 87% down in the severe river drainage and trending toward where they were last year. And then really looking at the Virgin at 60%, and it looks kind of grim even last year. So now let's take a look at water supply. And we'll go a couple of points for each basin, and we'll start with the Bear River drainage. And what we'll do is we'll look at this point, which is Woodruff Narrows Reservoir, and they're forecasted from April 1st through the end of July. And this forecast was generated by the Colorado Basin River Forecast Center, part of the National Weather Service, in the same room with us here in the forecast office. And this point is expected to get 70% of average, the most probable forecast, or 85,000 acre feet. When we move to inflow into Bear Lake on Stewart Dam, 47% of average and 86,000 acre feet. Now we'll swing down a little bit farther south to the Wasatch, to the Weber River drainage. And what we see there is 3 points. The first one is Oakley at 74% of average, or 87,000 acre feet. We move over to East Canyon Reservoir inflow at 64% of average, or 17.4 thousand acre feet. And then we look at inflow to Pineville Reservoir at 55% of average, or 62,000 acre feet. Now what we'll do is we'll slide south a little more, and we'll go to the Six Creeks drainage, where we'll look at 2 points. The first being Little Cottonwood Creek at 79% of average, or 30,000 acre feet, and that forecast is trend down, as most of these are. And then we look over at the City Creek drainage at 53% of average, or 4.1 thousand acre feet. We'll slide south once more to the Utah Lake drainage, where we'll look at 2 points. And the first one is the headwater areas for Jordanelle Reservoir. And we're seeing on the Provo at 82% of average forecasted, or 82,000 acre feet. But you can see that forecast is trending down from where it was in January. And then we move down over to the Spanish Fork River near Castilla at 45% of average, or 31,000 acre feet. Now moving east, we'll look at the Duchesne River Basin, where we'll see 3 points here. The first one being Strawberry Reservoir near Soldier Springs, and that's forecasted to reach 56% of average, or 40,000 acre feet. We move over to the headwater areas of Tabiona, 77% of average, or 83,000 acre feet. And then Knight's Diversion, a little bit farther east at 80% of average, or 155,000 acre feet. Now moving over and up to the Upper Green, we see a much better picture. We'll look at 1 point here in the Upper Basin, inflow into Flaming Gorge at 89% of average, or 8.7 million acre feet. And that forecast has trended down a little bit, but they're still doing quite well. Moving farther down into the Lower Green, what we see is about 2.3 million acre feet, or 77% of average. Again, that forecast is trending down. Now we'll move over to the Lake Powell drainage, everything that's come down into it, and we'll start with the Colorado aspect at Cisco. And what we see is 83% of average, or 3.7 million acre feet, where the forecast is trending down, as so much of these are with the poor conditions. And then inflow into Lake Powell itself at 73% of average, or 5.2 million acre feet, with that forecast trending down. Now we'll slide over to the Sevier River drainage, which flows south to north, and we'll start with the headwaters at the Hatch area at 48% of average, or 23,000 acre feet. Kind of a tough forecast for an area that desperately needs some good water supply. And then we move to the inflow to Paiute Reservoir at 55% of average, or 36,000 acre feet. Another tough forecast. Now we'll move to the Virgin, which has really the bleakest water supply picture in the entire state. We'll bring that up at 2 points. We'll start with the Virgin near Virgin, and what we're seeing is 55% of average, or 32,000 acre feet. And that forecast has remained similar, but it's also so low that it's kind of a little difficult to go even farther below. And then the outlets at Littlefield on the Virgin at 40% of average, or 26,000 acre feet, unfortunately. So there you have it. There's my contact info. Give me a call. Drop me an email. Any way we can post this data in a different way, or you'd like additional forecasts, let me know, and we'll go from there. I do appreciate taking the time to listen to this, and until the next one, we'll see you later.